So today in this video, we're looking at the crucial signs that your ex that you've already divorced, or maybe you're in the process of getting the divorce, but it's well underway. What are the signs that they might have changed their mind and they might want you back? After all, upwards of 15% of couples that actually get divorced do end up remarrying each other. Crazy as that sounds, it does happen. I don't see that happening in my situation, but maybe it's happening in yours. And in this video, I'm going to help unpack a bunch of different signs that you can look for, any one of which by themselves may not mean anything. But if you're seeing a combination of these signs, it could mean they want you back. And then I'm going to tell you at the end of this video what you need to do with that information. Hi, I'm Jeff Campbell from DivorcedParentsClub.com, and I'm on a mission to help other newly divorced parents just like me navigate this new world that we're in, whether that's dating after divorce, dealing with an ex, dealing with a toxic ex, how to work with your kids through the challenges of divorce. We cover it all on this channel, and I'm glad you're here on this journey with me. So let's get into some of these signs that you can look for right now. First is they're reaching out to you more than they used to. As with most of these signs, what we're looking for is a change in behavior. If they've always reached out to you, even through the divorce and after the divorce, that's not new information. That's not anything different. What we're looking for are things that are different, changes in behavior. So they're reaching out to you more than they used to. What could that possibly mean? Well, it means that they're thinking about you. If they're reaching out to you by phone or text or social media, it means they're thinking about you. You are on their mind. And unless they're reaching out to you to get angry and aggro and mess with you, then it means something positive, potentially, if it's in combination with some of these other signs. Let's keep going. They share details about their life. And not just hey, I dropped the kids off at school, or not, hey, I paid this bill, or hey, when are we going to refinance the house, or not business items, but actual important details about their life, or maybe even just mundane details about their life. Oh, I had a really stressful day at work today. How was your day? Oh, that's so good to hear. I'm talking about stuff like that. Things that you might normally talk about with a friend or maybe even somebody that you're dating. So if you're seeing that kind of reaching out and that kind of interaction, that's a good sign. Jealousy is the next one. And I know it would be weird to think that your ex might be jealous of you. I did actually have this happen while my ex and I were going through the separation process prior to the divorce. But if they are acting jealous because you're seeing somebody, maybe you're dating, or maybe you're dating several people, maybe you've got a serious boyfriend or girlfriend now, if they're acting jealous because of those things, that's actually a really good sign that they want you back. It's not a good sign if you don't want them back. Obviously, that's just annoying. But if you are thinking about reconciling, if you're the one that got dumped, that's a really good sign that they're now acting jealous about what's going on in your life. Of course, another one may be obvious, but if they're liking and commenting on your social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, they're sending you Snapchats, TikToks, depending upon how old you are, if they're interacting with you on a social level, liking, commenting, etc., that's also a really good sign. It means they're kind of, they're cyber stalking you a little bit. They want to know what's going on in your life, and they want to be involved in it in some way. So that's a really good sign. Again, we're looking for changes in behavior. If they have done that throughout the separation and divorce process, then that's not new. That's just maybe just who they are. But if it's suddenly different than it used to be, that's what we're looking for. When you do talk to them, either via text or on the phone or in person, if you find that they are reminiscing about the good old days, maybe things that you did, places you went, things that happened to you as a couple, if they're reminiscing about that, that's a really good sign. Another one is just making excuses to find a reason to talk to you about something, things that could be handled via email or text. They're picking up the phone and calling you, or they're asking to meet in person to talk about things. And it seems like they're making excuses. Again, we're looking for changes in behavior. If they've always liked to meet in person to talk about things, and that's not new. Maybe that's just how they prefer to communicate. But if it's suddenly different than it used to be, that could potentially be a really good sign. Again, any one of these signs doesn't mean anything by itself. We're looking for a combination of these signs, and the more signs you're seeing, especially some of the last ones at the bottom of the list, the better. The next one, and this ties back into the jealousy, is they try to make you jealous. What do I mean by that? Well, they might go out of their way to talk to you about who they're seeing. I know I had a conversation with my ex the other day, and she was telling me what the new guy liked to do in bed. Like, I don't really need to know that information, but I'm not offended by it either. And I don't think in her case that she was trying to make me jealous. But if you are seeing that kind of thing, or maybe you show up somewhere and she knew you were going to be there, and she's there with her new guy, or he's there with her new girl, and that kind of thing, and they're trying to make you jealous. Again, new behavior, not something that they've done consistently throughout the separation and divorce process. Another one, of course, and it ties into the whole jealousy thing, is if they ask you, hey, are you seeing anybody? Or, how's your dating life going? Who are you finding? Are you having any luck? That kind of thing. If they're asking, if they're inquisitive about your romance, your romantic life, that's a really good sign potentially that they want to know, and they're hoping that you say, dating's so hard, I can't find anybody good. They're hoping maybe for a response like that. And I don't want you to lie to them necessarily, but if they dumped you, then there's no harm in saying, it's going great. You would not believe this. I should have done this years ago. Maybe not that last line, but you get my point. You don't want them to feel sorry for you if you got dumped. If you got dumped, hey, I'm moving on. I'm living life. I'm having a good time. How about you? The next one, of course, is that they want to kind of rehash the past. And I would not encourage you to do this if it's going to get into a heated argument or ugly conversation, especially if you're already divorced. My ex and I, the ink is dry. It is done. I have no interest whatsoever in going back and talking about the things that led to my ex asking for the divorce. I just not interested, Now, if she wants to come to me and kind of take ownership of some of the things that happened on her end, I'm happy to hear it because she doesn't typically do that kind of thing. And if she did, I would be open to it, but I'm not going to sit down and have a heated or argumentative discussion. Not really my style anyway, and completely unnecessary at this point in our relationship. But if your ex wants to get together and kind of, piece it together, and especially if they really take ownership of their actions, because every divorce, I don't care if somebody cheated, if somebody did, every divorce takes two people to create. It takes two people to make a great relationship or marriage. It takes two people to destroy it. Maybe one slightly more responsible than the other, but it's almost impossible for it to all be one person and not the other. So if your ex is coming to you and wanting to have a heartfelt conversation and really take ownership of the things that they did in the relationship to cause the demise of it, that is a really good sign. If you like this video, please hit the like button, then smash that subscribe button and the bell notification button too. That way you get notified of future videos that I put out just like this one. And if you have an idea for something you'd like to see in a future video, please leave me that in a comment down below. I will make sure I cover it. Anyway, let's get back to the list. The next one is that you hear through the grapevine that your ex has been asking about you with mutual friends. Maybe you're out to dinner with a couple that you used to do things with socially with your ex, and they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so was asking about you the other day, and I wanted to know all about what was going on in your life and that kind of thing. If you hear through the grapevine that they're asking about you, it means that you are top of mind with them. They are thinking about you actively and wanting to kind of stay connected with what's going on in your life. And maybe they don't feel comfortable going to you directly, so they're asking your mutual friends. Anyway, if you're seeing that sign, especially in conjunction with some of these other ones, that's a really good sign that they want you back. Another one, and this might seem obvious, maybe it doesn't, but when they call you to tell you about a breakup they've just experienced. Maybe they were in a serious relationship, or maybe they, had gone from dating into kind of a semi-serious relationship, but they want you to know that that relationship has now ended. And maybe even they want, you to kind of console them. Maybe they're upset about it and they ask to get together, and, that's a really good sign. Now, I will say that in that particular situation, if it was a serious committed relationship that ended, her emotions or his emotions are going to be really raw and all over the place. And they may, start making out with you. They may want to have sex with you. That's okay. Just don't go into it with the mindset of like, the divorce is done, we're back. Don't go into it with that mindset. Just have fun. Hook up if that's where it goes, or just be there for them emotionally as a shoulder to cry on if that's where it goes. Don't go into it with any level of expectation. Another one is that they ask you for help with something. Often this will be something physical. If it's a wife or ex-wife reaching out to the ex-husband, she may need help around the house fixing something, and she may want to have you come over and take care of that. Or maybe it's, I can't get the cable TV to work anymore. Who has cable these days? But I can't get the Roku to work. I can't get Amazon or Hulu to work, or whatever it is. And maybe they need help with that. It could be anything, any number of things that they need help with, and they're asking for you to come over and help. That is a really good sign, because let's face it, there's probably lots of people that they could call. They reached out to you. Another thing to look for, and this is a biggie because this is a clear sign of physical, romantic interest and attraction, is that when you are together in person, they initiate some sort of physical touch. Could just be a caress on the arm. Maybe they give you a hug every time they see you and every time you leave. Any sort of physical touch. It doesn't have to be sexual in nature or romantic in nature, but physical touch by definition is a clear sign of attraction. Most, guys, I don't go up to my guy friends and caress their arm. I don't do that with female platonic friends either, because it just feels like it crosses a line. That is a sign of attraction. So whether you're talking about somebody that you're on a first date with, or you're talking about an ex, if they are initiating physical touch, that's a really good sign that they have some level of renewed romantic interest in you. And again, as with all of these signs, we're looking for a change in behavior. If they have always been touchy-feely with you throughout the entire separation and divorce process, then that probably isn't what that means. But if this is new behavior, that clearly is what that means. Okay, so let's say you are seeing maybe 5 or more of these signs, especially the physical touch one, because I feel like that's the most clear indicator. But let's say, what do you do with this information? Well, first of all, you have to decide, are you interested in having them back? In my case, even if my ex came to me today, the only real reason I would consider it initially is because of our kids and what the divorce has done to them and will continue to do to them. But there's, many compelling reasons at this point for me to just kind of like, all right, we reached this point, we've moved on, I'm just gonna stay where I'm at. And that's kind of my mindset right now. That's what I had to do to get clear separation from her and from the pain of the separation and the divorce, because it did come to me completely out of the blue. I was completely blindsided by it. And I just sort of had to like rewire my brain to think about it in that way. But first of all, you need to decide, do you want to reconcile? And if you got dumped, the chances are pretty good that maybe, yeah, you do. Especially if you were like me and you just didn't understand what was going on and why your ex was feeling the way that they were feeling. So decide that first. Then I want you to kind of like move it slowly. Take things slow with them. Don't have the expectation of like, we're just going to jump right back into where things were. You don't want to do that, especially if one or both of you were unhappy. You don't want things to go back to normal. If you are going to reconcile and even remarry if you're already completely divorced, you don't want to just settle. You want things to be better than they ever were before. And you can get there. You can do that. But First of all, you don't want to rush right back because it's easy to go back into old habits and complacency and taking each other for granted and communication styles. If you're going to reinvent your relationship, you got to take things slowly enough to where you can form new habits, new ways of communicating with each other, doing new things, not taking each other for granted, and not being complacent about your relationship. You got to prioritize each other, but you can't rush it. Don't treat it like somebody that you're dating, like somebody that you just met, and you're typically you might go out on one date a week with them and just kind of like let it slowly build. Also, if you're a guy watching this video, you typically want the woman to be slightly more interested in you than you are in them, or at least have them have that perception. And you want things like being exclusive or calling each other boyfriend, girlfriend, or actually getting remarried. You want those things to be her idea. You don't want to be the one pushing those things, because that could potentially make you seem kind of needy and kind of clingy and kind of desperate. And you don't want to come off that way, even if that's what you're feeling inside. Totally okay to feel that way inside. You don't want to show those things to her. Let her be in the driver's seat of how fast things progress from here on out. But go out on dates once a week. See where things go. Just focus on having fun and hooking up if that's where it goes, and just kind of, take it casually. It doesn't mean you have to keep dating other women if you don't want to, but you can. At this point in time, there's nothing that would necessarily be expected about exclusivity, but it also depends on where you're at and how you want to focus and prioritize the things going on in your mind. If it might be easier to just stop dating the other people and just kind of casually see where this goes without any really clear expectations. Expectations, whether you're trying to rebuild a marriage, start a new relationship, or save an existing marriage or relationship, expectations are a killer. You want to accept the person for who they are. It's okay to have goals for yourself. It's okay to have, things that you want to do. It's okay to have preferences. It's not really okay. It doesn't really work to have expectations on somebody else that might be impossible for them to meet. And then you are mad because they didn't do X, Y, and Z, and they feel bad because they're not living up to your expectations. That is a relationship killer. So I want you to completely avoid expectations. Appreciate the person for exactly who they are, with no intention of placing expectations and no intention of trying to change who they are. Accept them exactly as they are, and if you can't do that, they're not the right person for you. Anyway, I hope this video helps you. If it does, again, hit that like button, subscribe, and bell notification button. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.